With that, welcome you inside this edition of Big Ten Today. I'm your host, Rick Pizzo. We do have a terrific guest list. Justin St. Clair, the Big Ten Coach of the Year in track and field, will head to Lincoln for that conversation. Greg Goff and the Purdue Boilermakers having a terrific season on the baseball diamond. Still a chance to win the regular season title. We'll get a series preview from the Purdue headman as they get set to welcome Illinois for a 3-game series. And just down the street from our studios here in Chicago, NBA Draft Combine going on. We will hear from former Indiana big man Kel'el Ware. But we begin with today's big story, which took place earlier this week when Jensen was named as the successor to her friend and longtime head coach Lisa Bluder. It was a quick and easy decision for Iowa AD Beth Goetz, who wasted no time in elevating Jensen, who has been on the Hawkeye bench alongside Bluder for the past quarter century after playing for and coaching with her at Drake before the move to Iowa City. And we are thrilled now to welcome in Jan Jensen for today's big interview. Jan, I'm curious, let's start here. How much of a sense did you have that this could actually happen before Lisa officially told you that she was ready to step away and retire?
You know, everybody in, the recruiting world, when we got Megan Gustafson a few years ago, Big Ten Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, recruiting wars, well, she's going to retire after Megan. So you kind of have to withstand it, and you have those conversations. And then when we got Caitlin, of course, she's going to retire right after Caitlin. But that was never part of the conversation this year. And it wasn't until, because it was such an exciting year, right? And then we had the Final Four again, and then Caitlin got drafted and the award tour. So her and her husband were going on vacation a little bit later. And Lisa had been working hard, obviously, with recruiting, the portal, all of that. But before she left on vacation, she said, I just want you to know I'm going to have some deep conversations and be reflective, about my future, hopefully your future. And I kind of looked at her and I was like, really? And then she went on vacation. And when she came back, I kind of forgot about it because I was so busy, with everything else. And she called and said, hey, I'm going to swing by with a cup of coffee, which isn't unusual. We do hang out. And then Jenny Fitzgerald, our other longtime coach with us, also showed up, and that's when she told us. So it's been pretty fresh, week and a half maybe.
And I'm sure there's a large part of that conversation that you'd like to keep private, understandably, with as emotional as I'm sure it was for both you and Lisa. But what can you share with us about the tenor of that conversation and what the initial reaction was between all of the parties involved?
Well, I was shocked, but knew it would come someday, right? But I think the most poignant part of that conversation was, how much she hoped that I would be able to get it, right? Because that was our dream. That was what we'd been working for. A few years ago, I had not really looked at any other jobs, and I just kind of went all in on this one. And I said, hey, this is the only one I want. I love this place. I'm a native Iowan. I just, the fans here, this is the only place that really makes sense for me. So we had a nice conversation about that. And I kind of asked her some reasoning of, what really puts you over the edge. And, obviously a lot of success. We've had, we've achieved a lot, but she has 3 children, and any coach that has kids will tell you this. We know what we're doing and we love it. We wouldn't change it. Obviously you can't, but we all watch everybody else's kids play much more than our own. And so she has 3 children, and her youngest is a senior at Grinnell College. And what really hit me, I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. She said, I'm really ready to watch my own kid play. I don't want to miss a game he plays this year. And it became really clear when I thought about it like that. And I just thought it was really sweet because Lisa's had many roles, and she's been a GOAT in my mind for years. And I think the last 3 or 4 people really started to see just how great she is. But she's really a GOAT as a mom. And that really resonated with me. And it was just a really sweet moment.
That is so well said. Jen, you're a native Iowan. You played at Drake. Other than a couple of years playing pro after Drake in Germany, you've basically spent your entire life around basketball in the state of Iowa. How much more special did it make the moment for you when you were told that you were going to be Lisa's successor?
Really, words failed me, and I often joke that's not the case if you know me. Words don't usually fail me. But it was just a surreal sense of gratitude first, and then pride, of course. The one thing I thought of was my family. I'm one of five. I only have a remaining sister that thankfully is alive. Melody is her name. But my mom, my dad, and my brother have all passed away in the last 8 or 9 years. And they were my biggest fans personally. And they would have loved this moment because my dad was a proud farmer in this state and they loved the Hawkeyes. So to have that moment where you really get to realize a dream, I'm always kind of choked up again, is it's just special. And I've been so fortunate. I mean, like, are you kidding me? Like I said yesterday at my press conference, like I've gotten to have my dream job, for so many years. And now I get to have my dream title and I didn't have to move. I mean, are you kidding me? Who gets to do that? So I'm really, really blessed. And it does mean a lot to be an Iowa native and get to work at, the University of Iowa to be the head coach. Really pretty amazing.
It is a perfect fit, and the joy's evident, the emotion is evident, but pressure always comes with any first major head college coaching job, which this is for you. There are very few that know the program better, but now you move over one chair, which does obviously add a lot of different responsibilities. How much pressure do you think you will feel when you get into the meat of what this job actually is?
I think that will be a key to manage that. I've already noticed that the chair I'm sitting in now seems to be a little hotter than the one I used to be in. Seriously, I think that's the key. But I also think this year was going to be rebuilding, whether Lisa Bluder was still at the helm or not. You simply cannot lose a generational player like Caitlin Clark and a glue kid like a Kate Martin and a tremendous defender, do everything shooter like Gabby Marshall. And then we have Molly Davis and Sharon Goodman, just quality people. So I have to realize that this isn't a one-year deal, right? We're in it for the long haul. And I think we have some great pieces returning, but I think that's the deal. I believe I have to stay in my lane and not think, oh gosh, we gotta win, be undefeated, by February, right? Or whatever. I just feel like I have to enjoy the process like I have. I feel like I have always long understood it's the journey and not the destination. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot more pressure, and it's very difficult to follow a legend. A lot of people who do it, it's definitely a challenge. But I am buoyed up by the fact that I followed my best friend that wants me to succeed immensely. I have a university and a great AD and president that are backing me. Our whole team remained. Our recruits coming in, our portal transfer, they're all in. So I'm getting to start in a pressure-packed job with a whole lot of energy and a whole lot of excitement. And it's up to me to be able to manage that pressure. And I've thought about it, and I believe I'm ready for it. And I've been waiting for a long time to have the buck stop with me.
Jen, I would actually say you don't just follow one legend in Lisa, you actually follow two as Caitlin moves on to the WNBA. And listen, everybody knows one player doesn't make a team, one player doesn't make a sport, but I think we also all agree Caitlin is as close to that as anybody has ever been. So what does Iowa basketball, in your vision right now over the next couple of years, look like without Caitlin Clark in the mix?
Well, what I've kind of said to our supporters at different, events is we just have to do it the old-fashioned way again. Now we don't have a kid that shoots from the parking lot. They're going to be kids shooting actually from the three-point line. So that with that comes another excitement that you're resetting, because the joy that I think people had watching our team play, or certainly our fans, that joy was there with Megan Gustafson, right? And Kathleen Doyle, another all Big Ten player. But Caitlin made everybody watch because Caitlin was doing something quite simply that no other woman or man was doing in college basketball is where she shot from. And so we're going to have that adjustment period, because when Caitlin would, sink it from the parking lot, that was just an explosion of, interest and excitement. But the joy can still remain. A great product on the floor can still be there. The purity of passing, the purity of, backdoor cuts and just beautiful basketball transition offense, that can be there. So what we're going to hopefully maintain are the fans and the interests of people that appreciate great basketball. But if all you really wanted to see was, Caitlin popping it from the parking lot, then no, we're definitely going to lose that caveat of fans. But, I've seen this fan base for, about a quarter of a century now. And if you put a good product on the floor and you play with joy and you play with a respect for the game and certainly an appreciation for our great fans, I think the Hawkeye fans are gonna be with us.
All right, Jan, let's get you out of here on this. I know you got places to go. My kids similar ages to yours, and I just got to watch Full Court Press with my 14-year-old daughter, who is a huge women's college basketball fan. You're featured in it. Have you seen it? And if so, what'd you think?
Ironically, we flew to Indianapolis for the premiere of the #1 hour, and it, was great. But then it all broke because that Monday, actually, when we flew to Indianapolis, that's when Lisa dropped the news. So then the next week was just consumed with a lot of conversations with my athletic director, a lot of, reflection and preparation. So I haven't seen 2, 3, and 4. And Caitlin told me at the premiere, she said 1 was good, but she said, man, I love 3 and 4. So with Caitlin, you never know what that means. I'm sure there was a lot more passion and emotion in 3 and 4. So I haven't seen it. My family, actually, we get together and watch it. So they're on me now that, all the excitement is now going to die down a bit, that we can finally watch the rest of them. Yeah, so it sounds good, though, huh?
Yeah, and I think you'll have some other stuff that you have to take care of. I think your family's going to have to wait until the timing works out exactly right over the next couple of weeks. But, Jan, we really appreciate you being with us. Congratulations. Wish you the best of luck, and we cannot wait to see you as the head coach when Iowa takes the floor for the 24-25 season.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and God bless and go Hawks.
We are back on Big Ten today, and so much is still to be decided as we head into the final weekend of the Big Ten baseball regular season. First pitch for many of these games Thursday. We know Purdue and Illinois, Indiana, Michigan will both play Thursday double headers because of impending weather that could affect their series. Of course, the top 8 make the Big Ten tournament. A handful of teams, including the Boilers, the Illini, the Huskers, the Hoosiers, all still have a chance to win the regular season title. And in advance of this weekend series between Purdue and Illinois, Boilermaker headman Greg Goff, kind enough to join us. Greg, there's so much on the line. How exciting is it for you and the team to know what's still at stake heading into the final weekend of the regular season?
It's awesome, Rick. I tell you, it's been a lot of energy going on campus and the community. And, our team, we had a great practice yesterday, and just, really, really grateful the opportunity that we have going down to the last weekend to have a chance to win the Big Ten, Big Ten championship.
Nearly 35 overall wins already this year. You're 5 games above 500 in league play. You got some terrific young players on your roster mixed in with some veterans. What's been the driving force behind the success of this team this season?
I really think it's just been our leadership. We got great leadership. We got some guys that's been here. Mike Bolton, has been here for 5 years. Cooper Cornbloom's been here for a couple of years. But it's just been really the leadership. Connor Cascanet and Joe Stevens, all those guys, I just think really this past year in the summer, Rick, made a decision to come back. We're going to, lift and get ready. And really all of the hard work has really paid off throughout the year. And I think set these guys up for an opportunity to be where they are.
You guys are a really fun watch as well. I've had a chance to see a lot of your games. Pitchers make mistakes, and your guys make them pay. You have 6 guys hitting .308 or better at this point heading into this series against Illinois. What have you liked about your team's approach at the dish this year?
Well, as you said, they're fun to watch, Rick. I mean, they're fun to watch. We got some speed at the top of the order. We got some guys in the middle of the order that can hit the ball over the fence. But they just play hard. They play with a lot of passion. They play with a little chip on their shoulder. Most people picked us, 11th to 13th in this league. And so we just kind of use that as motivation. And though these guys, it doesn't matter. The moment never gets too big for them. And, it's pretty awesome to be a part of it.
Greg, a couple of weeks ago, I had the chance to catch up with Luke Gaffney, probably an even better young man than he is baseball player, and he is a heck of a baseball player. He just absolutely rakes, leads your team in a ton of offensive categories. What makes him such a good player?
Well, just his mentality, to be honest with you. He's a hard worker. We redshirted him last year, and he used that whole year to gain some strength, gain some weight. And he's really, put together an unbelievable. If you would have told me he'd do, he's doing what he is doing right now, I'd be going, you're crazy. But, he's just had a phenomenal year, and just the hard work and the kind of kid he is. There's nobody that works any harder than Luke Gaffney.
Yeah, I got to watch that series against Northwestern and the game at Wrigley, and it looked like the Wildcat pitchers were shaking their head every time he would step to the plate because they had no idea what they were supposed to do against him.
I mean, everything they threw up there, he hit. That was pretty amazing weekend. And they'd throw fastballs away. He hit the right center. Hit the changeups. He hit the left center. I mean, he's on fire, and hopefully he'll catch fire again this weekend because it wasn't easy against a good Illinois team.
You mentioned Connor Cascanet a few minutes ago, arguably the biggest bat on the team. He leads you in homers and RBIs. But I'm struck by the fact that a guy with that kind of power has only struck out 20 times in nearly 180 at-bats. How is he able to do that?
Well, he does a really good job of really adjusting with two strikes. You'll watch him. He'll let the barrel go and those positive counts. He's hunting pitches and things of that nature, but he does a really good job. You'll watch him with two strikes, and he'll really kind of shorten that swing up and really try to use the backside of the field. And so that's why it makes him so dangerous. He can go yard on you, and he can also get that backside single when he needs to with two strikes.
And it's not just power, Greg. You got speed, too. You got Camden Gasser with the on base of over 500, 17 steals. You mentioned Mike Bolton. He's 23 of 27 on steal attempts. So what's your philosophy on kind of balancing that aggressive base running, but not want to take the bats out of guys who can obviously leave the yard and change the game with one swing?
Well, my philosophy is this, to be honest with you. I mean, Rick, it's, like we like to put pressure on people, and I like my players to play, kind of, to be honest with you, like I want them to play free. And so we give them a green light. Don't tell them that those guys don't have green lights as if I put the stop sign on, but, I want those guys to trust their instincts. Our job is to coach them up, but in the games, players win the games, not coaches. And so I want them guys to play free. And, they feel like when Mike and Coop and Gasser and those guys feel like they have a count they can run in, let's go. And so that's kind of how we've been able to kind of get where we are today, just the pressure and just allowing our players to play. It's a game of baseball, and I think it's really difficult whenever you can score different ways besides just hitting a 3-run home run.
Great to score, but you also got to get the opposing hitters out. Obviously, a nice 1-2 Friday-Saturday punch between Jordan Morales, Luke Wagner. Those guys have each started 13 games, each have 7 wins. How much have you relied on them and the addition of Cole Van Assen, who's 5-1 right now? Well,
you said it. Those two guys at the top, they're seniors. They've been through the deal for the season, and so those guys have got to set the tone for us. And they've just been great guys that we brought into the program through the transfer portal, and have just made a huge impact on us, to be honest with you. Great leadership, really does a good job of getting us a chance to win every weekend. And for both those guys to have 7 wins is pretty phenomenal.
Bullpen management is so different in the college game than it is in the majors. Your stats show that 5 different relievers have logged at least 28-plus innings this year. In this league, in college baseball overall, how critical is it to have depth coming out of the pen?
It's huge. It really is. I think that's probably the biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team for us. We've been able to run some guys out there. And as you know, some days, some guys have it, some days they don't. So you better have some dudes that can come in and get you out of a jam. And so we got those this year. And, Coleman is another guy that's pitched most of our midweeks for us and give us a chance to win, most every midweek. And so to me, that was the biggest thing that we made a huge commitment to is making, our pitching staff with more depth so we can have an opportunity to win 35 games or so.
And what a great setup for the final weekend of the regular season against league-leading Illinois. You head into this series knowing you still have a chance to win the regular season title. If you sweep and get a little bit of help, the regular season title and the number 1 seed in the tournament could be yours. What's the scouting report on Dan Hartlibb's Illini?
Keep the ball in the park. They like hitting that long ball. They, you see their numbers. It's amazing, really, to be honest with you. 1 through 9 can go out of the yard at any time. And so, it's going to be a challenge for our pitching staff this weekend. The biggest thing for us is just don't give up the walks, the errors, the hit by pitches before. They're going to get their swings in. They're going to hit some balls out of the yard. But, as long as we keep on the solos and keep them from really putting up those crooked numbers, I think we'll have a chance to win this weekend.
Finally, Greg, with your team RPI, I think it's hovering maybe low, mid-60s right now. It kind of becomes almost like the postseason with every game that you play, heading into the Big Ten tournament and then obviously the double elimination. I know you don't want to put any pressure on the guys, but what sense do you get from them in terms of the urgency of knowing that we need to, and if we do play our best baseball over the next couple of weeks, the year doesn't have to end when May comes to a close?
There's no doubt. And I really appreciate you bringing that up, and our guys know that. They know what's at stake. And so I think that's why we played so well the last 4 or 5 weeks, to be honest with you. I think they made a decision, hey, we're going to try to make this run. And so they've been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's just been a pleasure for me to have a chance to coach these guys and how hard they play and how passionate they are about what they're doing. And you're right. A few years ago as a head coach at Louisiana Tech, we had the same situation, had Rice coming in, number 1 team, and we ended up sweeping those guys. And getting our RPI up, and we ended up getting that large bid after winning a couple of games in the tournament. So it's very, 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 able to do. And so, we just got to focus on one game at a time and just make sure we're playing our very best starting today.
Oh, that first game comes your way Thursday, 4 o'clock Eastern. You can see right here on Big Ten Plus, the 8 o'clock start on the Big Ten Network. Greg Goff, we truly appreciate the time. Wish you and the Boilers the best of luck. We will be fun to watch this series against Illinois this coming weekend.
Guys, it's really been an honor to be with you, and really appreciate what you do for baseball and for the Big Ten. It's just phenomenal how much it's growing, and just really appreciate what you guys do, man. You guys have a great day. Bull her up.
For anyone not keeping track on what's going on with Northwestern and the stadium renovation and the schedule where they will play, here is the Cats football schedule for 2024. All but 2 of these games will be played on the lake at the practice facility. But if you look down low on this graphic, the November 16th and November 30th home games against Ohio State and Illinois, respectively, will be played at Wrigley Field. Speaking of Illinois, it was a terrific March in Minneapolis for the Illini. Knocked off Wisconsin to claim the 4th Big Ten tournament title in program history. Of course, a large portion of that team will move on to the next level, including guys like Coleman Hawkins, who this week is at the NBA Draft Combine in Chicago. He's standing by with Andy Katz.
Coleman, how would you compare last year's Combine process to what you're going through now?
I think this year I just feel a lot more comfortable. I feel very informed. Last year I felt like, I had a group with me, but I just didn't feel like I was getting the right insight. I felt like I was kind of going in here blinded. So I feel very more comfortable now. I think that's the biggest thing. And, like today I didn't really feel nervous. Like I was telling these guys, I just wanted to get out there and play more. So, no, I just feel way more informed, way more comfortable for sure.
In what way are you a better player a year later?
I think last year I just kind of hesitated a lot, and this year I'm just going off instincts. Like I said earlier, though, I still need to catch and shoot and be a little bit more aggressive as far as that because, I'm a great shooter. So when I do turn those shots down, it's not just hurting me, but it's hurting my team because, that could be 3 points right there for whatever team I'm on. So just kind of, I think I got to be a little bit more aggressive, but I think I'm, just playing with my instincts this year, playing more comfortable.
So Coach Underwood said that, he says you're all in. You've said you're all in. You do have the extra year. How much of that is just an insurance policy just in case over the next month?
I say it's about like I've told schools that have reached out, even though they shouldn't be, but I've told some schools just straight off the bat like I don't see myself going there, and there's some schools that have reached out with some good offers that I could see myself potentially going there, but really like I said, I feel like I've just been all in on the draft. Like if I'm being honest, it's like 90-10. Like it's just so many more positive things I feel like right now in my career to stay in the NBA and just get better at basketball. That's kind of just my biggest thing. I just want to get better, like really sacrifice my life and give my life to basketball.
Big Ten tournament title, Elite Eight appearance. How'd you describe what this last year was like at Illinois?
It was good. I still wish we could have at least got a share of that Big Ten title with Purdue because I thought we were fully capable. We tricked some games off, but for us to win the tournament and still make a little run, or for us to win the Big Ten tournament and to make a little run in the tournament is still special. Those are banners that get hanged up in our arena forever. We're a team that is going to be talked about for a long time, and it's going to be a team that's missed because just like that, everyone's gone. So, it's definitely special to be a part of those teams. And yeah, I mean, that team is done now, but we're going to be talked about for a long time. So.
All right, so I need to improve as well, Coleman. You remember this one?
I knew you would see it. I had to get him, man. I had to get him.
So how can I improve my rankings? This is worse than an Andy Katz power rankings list. Coleman Hawkins on X. So give me my advice. Now, how can I improve my rankings here?
One, I'm just glad he knows it's a joke and is not taking it serious. Two, you got to come talk to me and I'll help you out. That's how you improve. I'll come help you out. Yes, sir.
All right, so for preseason rankings, I'm going to talk to you before I put anything out.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just come talk to me, and then you'll have the best list, and no one will question it. The only people who hate on it is probably Purdue fans.
Oh, one final dig at the Boilers from Hawkins. It was a great year for Hawkins, for Brad Underwood, who's done such wonderful things since taking over in Champaign. You look at the last 5 years, winning the first regular season title since 2004, 2005 during that 21-22 campaign, and of course, as we just talked about, claiming this year's Big Ten tournament title. He's nearby, checking on a couple of his former stars as well as we head back to the draft combine. And Andy.
All right, Brad, let's first deal with the NBA draft. Two of your stars are here, Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins. What are your expectations for them in this draft?
Yeah, I'm really excited for both of them. Both of them went through this process a year ago. I fully expect them to be better going through it, having known and having an understanding of what's coming. Terrence is a little dinged up. He's not playing. Coleman will play. And so I'm excited for them. I think they've both got very, very bright futures, and obviously, Terrence had an incredible year, being first team All-League again, and then Coleman's one of the all-time winningest players in Illinois history, and had a great 4-year run, and he's so dialed in mentally. I'm excited for him.
So he flirted with and fooled us all. He graduates and then he walks out with Illinois, teases us with everything going on. I mean, what do we think is going to happen with him into the draft process and potentially beyond?
Yeah, I think that he's 100% committed to being very, very successful here at the draft. I think he's committed to seeing what the pro world holds. But you never say never. And, I think the opportunities out there in today's world with NIL, if things don't go the way he wants, could be very attractive. I mean, some of the money that's out there right now that people are throwing around are well above two-way contracts. So, in talking with him, talking with his dad, I think he's been very focused on this process, and he feels like he's going to perform well.
So you went into the portal again. You've had great success in it. What did you find that you think can help you next season?
Well, we had to go get talent. And we had two guys coming back in Coleman and Terrence that we knew were pros. And last year our staff did a great job with Marcus, Justin, and Quincy. All three of those guys were impact guys for us. We went out and got size. Positional size is a huge thing for us. Shooting's a huge thing for us. We're a little bit younger. But we're very experienced. Kylan Boswell's still 18 years old and he's got 2 years of college under his belt. We've gone the international route a little bit with some size. Kerry Booth has started as a freshman at Notre Dame. Just the natural maturation jump freshman to sophomore. We're excited about him. Ben Huberhaus is a guy that has just gotten better every year from the NAI level to Evansville to having workouts with NBA teams, and a great shooter. That's something we've targeted. Trey White is 6'7", great candidate for booty ball. Has had 2 great years and a lot of experience. So we're really excited about this group.
What are the chances are that you might need to go get 1 or 2 more?
Oh, I think we'll get 1. I think you can get too many. I think that can cause some problems, and I think that maybe 1. If the second one was right, maybe, but I'll definitely leave 1 open. We've got 2 guys back and that I'm really excited about. So we've got a couple freshmen coming in I'm excited about. So we'll see how it plays out, but we'll take 1 for sure. We need 1 more action guy on the perimeter, and we'll see how that plays out.
Scheduling, I know you'll play pretty much anyone, anywhere. Where does it stand in terms of games that you control for next season?
Yeah, we've got a hard schedule again, and obviously we play Missouri every year. We've got Tennessee back in our building. We're working on a game that's not finalized with Duke in the Garden at a unique time. We're going to do it in February, and we're working on a game that hasn't been finalized yet with Alabama in Birmingham, a return in Chicago, and then we've still got 1 other high major game we're going to try to get. So, and then you add the 4, Western teams to the league, and this league just gets to be a monster again. So 20 league games, and that will be plenty.
It is time for today's Big Stat, presented by Walgreens. For the first time in 14 years and the first time ever in Big Ten competition, the Nebraska men have claimed back-to-back outdoor track and field conference championships, and the Huskers have it going on the women's side as well, posting the program's best Big Ten outdoor championship finish since 2015. And with that, welcoming the head coach of the Husker track and field program, Justin St. Clair. Second year in a row, we've got to have this conversation, which is a great thing, Justin. I know it's a thing that you'd love to see on an annual basis. You were also recently named the Big Ten track and field coach of the year. So welcome into the show. And of course, first and foremost, our congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
How did this year's championship compare to last year's? Having won it last year, obviously you're just the interim. Now you're a permanent head coach, and shortly thereafter, a couple of Big Ten championships in a row.
Last year obviously was memorable and exciting to kind of step in and do that and win the championship. And then you kind of go into the second year, and the goal is to repeat that. And I would say there's a lot of thought and expectation that I put on myself and the team and the staff to back that up. And so I would say the first year was really exciting. This year was stressful, but also very exciting at the same time. So we're so excited and just privileged to have a great group of student athletes and staff that just work hard and kind of working hard together and trying to accomplish the same goal. So it was fun. Yeah.
Well, let's get into some of those student athletes. And we start with Tyus Wilson, wins the high jump with an NCAA best, third all time at 7'6". What makes Tyus so good at his discipline?
Tyus is obviously great job. He competed really well. Tyus is somebody he's very committed to the process of training. He has a very good belief and a really good balance in life in general. So I think being able to compete at a high level, and the beliefs that he has in his faith and everything has been just a really blessing for him. And man, he's a great competitor, and he trains hard, and he just does a really, great job.
Darius Luff takes home the 100-meter hurdles, and his time of 13.25, not just good enough for his third title, but it's actually number 6 in the world right now. So how has Darius become one of the world's best?
Him and Coach Emmanuel, they've really developed a great bond and relationship. And, Darius ran 13.25 at the Drake relays earlier this year. So the level of consistency for him has really really shown now. And I think he just truly believes, hey, I know I can do this. And it's less about the pressure of running fast. It's more about, hey, let's put on a show and just execute my race and stay in his own lane, not worry about who's doing what, just do what Darius does. And, great things happen. He's a very relaxed runner and very confident with his abilities. So he's really being consistent and is just in a good space.
Yeah, he really makes an event look very easy that, as you and anyone else who's ever tried it probably knows, it is anything but easy. Let's go to the triple jump. You have 3 of the top 6 finishers in that event. How did Terrell Wilson, McKylan Moore, and Jeremiah Charles push each other?
I would say such a good brotherhood that they have and competitive spirit within each other. And I would say when you are competing with each other and for each other, it just sharpens each other. And it becomes a little bit of, a bragging right. Well, hey, you just did this. And okay, well, now it's my turn. I'm going to kind of go ahead and try to pass that up. And they're very competitive, but they are there for each other and they support each other, encourage each other. So it just kind of the chemistry of them competing against each other, but with each other has been just really fun to watch.
Justin, what else stood out from the weekend? A men's team finish that was not just a championship, but you outpointed second place Iowa by 50 points. I know it was still a battle going into the final day, but such an impressive performance. Big picture perspective, what else stood out to you from the weekend?
I would say the weekend itself, all the teams did a great job across the board. Anytime you're going to the Big Ten championships, there's a lot of pressure and expectation. Whether if it's our team or any team, and it's a battle. And I would say all the teams competed really well. For me, specifically watching our team and watching how we have come together as a team. Track and field, obviously, each event is individual results, but those individual results really impact the entire team. And each cheer, each yell, each encouragement, if you had a bad meet or a great meet, be there for each other, pick each other up, and just watching our team kind of be there for each other has really kind of been exciting to watch and makes me realize, hey, we are doing this together for each other. And that's not just the student athletes, but the staff, the medical side of things, the strength and conditioning, all of us are kind of bought into doing the best we can for the program.
Well, you mentioned that a little bit at the beginning about how the expectations changed for you after the championship a year ago. I'm curious how the expectations overall changed for this program, because recent years there really hadn't been a ton of success, especially at the outdoors, but now back-to-back for the men, a top 2 for the women outside of Lincoln even. How do you feel like the expectations, what is expected of your program, have changed?
I would say from my standpoint, if we're going to compete, let's compete at the highest level and let's put everything we have into doing what we can do. And so now to me, I would say winning never really gets old. So let's go ahead and have the expectation and the standard to say, hey, if we're going to compete, let's compete for titles. And that might not always happen, but at least we're going to have the mindset and a desire and passion to compete at the highest level. And the chips are going to fall where they fall. And again, we can't say, hey, we're going to win every title. No, that's not true. But we're going to at least compete at the level and have that mindset to compete at that level.
And titles, Justin, came on the women's side as well. Axelina Johansson wins her third straight championship meet in the shot. She threw over 60. Now, she's actually thrown 64 in her career. What's most impressive about her skill set?
Axelina's a really good competitor, and we have been really kind of getting ready for, this part of the season. A lot of it has been training, and sometimes it's really easy to kind of get after the big marks early in the season. Thinking about Axelina, it's going to be a rather, hopefully a long season for her. With now we have the regional meet and the national meet, and then hopefully we'll be in Paris here in August for the Olympics. So right now it's really been about just training, and now we're getting into the spot of, okay, now it's time to really start peaking for competition and get ready. And just a great young lady who trains hard and works hard and is committed to being the best she can be.
All right, Justin, let's finish there. You mentioned the regionals, Fayetteville, large portion of your team. Almost everybody we just mentioned goes to regionals. What is the balance like between trying to peak for the Big Tens, but then rest and then peak again for regionals? And in the case of some of these athletes, rest and then peak again for what they hope is a shot at the Olympics.
That's right. Yeah, it's such a juggling act, right? There's no crystal ball on, hey, we might draw it up just like this, but sometimes, things happen. You might get sick or, injuries, or you never know what that really happens in between. But we have the athletes have trained very consistently. They have competed very consistently. And now it's kind of, hey, the work has really been done. Now it's about making sure you feel really good leading into these meets. And each coach has, they know their athletes really well. They know physically where they are, mentally where they are. And now it's kind of the saying is, the cake's baked, it's time to eat it. So let's just make sure that we continue to stay injury-free and try to stay as healthy as we can to give us the best chance to do what we can do.
Cake always tastes a little bit better after a championship. Justin St. Clair and the Huskers, men's outdoor champions, women finishing second. Justin, congrats again on the Big Ten Coach of the Year honor. Wish you and the Huskers who go to Fayetteville the best of luck. We hope to see you and a bunch of those Nebraska athletes this summer at the Olympics in Paris.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate it a lot.
Before transferring to Indiana, big man Kel'el Ware was known as more of a shooter. Became a true post presence for the Hoosiers, and despite a late season injury, that combination and that skill set has NBA executives very intrigued. Let's take you back to this week's NBA Draft Combine. Here's Andy Katz with Ware.
All right, Kel'el, first off, want to know, how would you rate your experience at Indiana?
It was a 10. I definitely, after going to Bloomington, I definitely love Bloomington. They do have a special place in my heart, so it was a 10.
In what way did Coach Woodson and the staff help you get in this position to be draftable?
Every day they push me to, keep going, to, be able to get in my comfort zone and to be able to just play through my mistakes. And that's what the whole coaching staff did. And they allowed me to just be able to be comfortable on court and play through my mistakes. And
we saw Trace Jackson Davis obviously had a great career there. And then, pretty good contributions with Golden State. How much did you look at what he was able to accomplish in hoping that you could do something similar when you get to the NBA?
I seen that, Coach Woodson helped him out, and, I wanted to see what he could do for me and see where I'm at now. So I feel like he did a good job.
All right, so officially, where do you stand on what you're going to do?
Like going to the NBA? Well, I'm declared, yeah.
Both feet in?
Yeah, both feet in.
All right, so with that being said, clearly you've been bandied about as a first-round draft pick somewhere in this draft. What makes you NBA ready?
I'm definitely able to, pick and pop. I'm able to pick and roll, be that lob threat, and I'm not slow, so I'm able to move my feet, be able to defend the perimeter, defend guards. I've been working on it this whole little pre-draft, and especially just been able to just go out there and compete and just be there, be the presence that I needed to be on the court.
Our congrats to these 6 golf teams from the Big Ten headed to the NCAAs after qualifying through regionals. On the men's side, Ohio State, Purdue, and Illinois. The women will send Michigan State, Northwestern, and Purdue. Also want to mention Ben Ware, and he's an individual who qualified for the men's championship, as we wish the Minnesota Golden Gopher the best of luck. And thanks to all of our guests on this edition of Big Ten Today, and to you for watching. I'm Rick Pizzo. We'll see you next time.